Hello, 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 hi. We're welcome back to another episode, and this time I'm so excited because I've been doing a series on the GCash investments, and I'm really looking forward to the discussion this one. And I'm gonna be joined by Mr. Chris Wong of Fidelity Insurance, and he's gonna be talking about why it's a good idea and it's also timely to start looking at this kind of an investment. So, Chris, can you do a short introduction of who you are, what you do, and maybe can talk a little bit about Fidelity?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, my name is Chris Wong, and thanks for having me. Thanks for having us today. I'm a client portfolio strategist based in Singapore. So our book of business here is really to cover institutions, wholesale banks, private bank, insurance monies across the ASEAN region. So myself, I work very closely with our sales team and our investment teams. So really to get a flavor of what our clients are thinking, what they're looking for on the ground, and also to disseminate some of the information from our research team, our investment team that we're finding on the ground. So really, I'm serving as a bridge between the client's needs and what our investment teams are doing right now.
Okay. And you are this fund that we're going to talk to you about is being managed by Fidelity. Can you talk a little bit about Fidelity? Because I know what Fidelity is, but a lot of our readers are not aware who Fidelity is.
Yeah, we're one of the largest investment managers globally. So we're UK based, and our parent is really American based. But our business is independent. We're based in the UK, and our book of business is really wide. So we cover anything from bonds to equities to multi-asset funds, which have a mix of bonds and equities, etc. And really, our coverage in terms of underlying investments could be anything from a global strategy to a pan-regional strategy to a single country strategy. So we really have a full suite of investment options on our platform.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Fidelity can be counted as one of the top 10 in the country, in the whole world. I mean, the largest and most diversified, right?
They're one of the largest in the world.
Yeah, one of the largest. You probably would belong to the top 10, if not the top 5. All right. So you're saying this is UK. I've always thought that they were Americans.
Yeah, that actually,
right?
the principals are the same family.
Okay.
But we're totally independent, and our HQ is the UK. So the American ones are our siblings at best.
All right. So again, we are featuring one of the products that is now being offered through GCash, GInvest program. I'm going to talk to you more about that later on as I invite somebody from ATRAM about this. But I'm really excited because this is a particular investment that is done basically through technology. I mean, using technology or tech stocks and stuff like that. So can you talk a little bit about this particular fund where we're trying to feature now?
Yeah, essentially it's an equity fund, and we invest globally. So we invest in stocks that are based anywhere in the world, that are in the field of technology. So it can be very wide spanning. It can be something that does a company that does semiconductors, to a company that provides internet platform, to one that does something like a video call, like the Zoom platform that we're using at the moment. So really the range of investments we can do in the technology sector is really wide, huge spanning, and really global at this point in time.
And even gaming, correct? I mean, even this is also part of it, which is, I guess, is very big for younger people today. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
As a parent, that is a concern for me. Anyway, so again, this is something. So again, it's so broad. When you say technology, and unfortunately, there's not much technology investments in the Philippines. I don't know, I'm mistaken, maybe 1 or 2 stocks that are involved into this. And you're pretty much looking at the whole global particular. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when you say technology, it's always the US is in my mind. I mean, how big is the US participation in this whole technology fund that you have?
Yeah, so if we were to use, because we're a global fund, so we when we invest, we also reference or just to pay attention to what's a global technology benchmark. So the US is a big part of this.
Yeah, it's
followed by Europe, Japan, and then a bit of emerging markets. So US, because of the market caps, or rather the general market value of these companies, they do a big size. They make a big part of the market. But that's not to say there's no innovation, there's no technology in Asia. So because of the wide spanning analyst breadth that we have globally, including Asia, we're actually finding a lot of very unique and interesting opportunities in Asia. Across, again, semiconductors to internet to e-commerce, Asia is also offering a lot of very exciting opportunities to investors at this point in time.
Are you been seeing? I mean, you've been doing this for a couple of years, so I guess a lot of these things that are you are investing on are disruptive in nature. Is this something that you see it's going to continue? Do you see that the technology world, is it still growing, or has it reached its peak, or it's just barely starting?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. So let me just give you a bit of statistics, right?
Okay,
How quickly technology adoption is taking place. So the washing machine took 20 years to be adopted, and social media, 5 years, and so on and so forth. There are many examples of how quickly innovation has taken place. And a lot of this innovation, since the start of history, even in the 1700s, come in waves. So there were really 4 waves, 5 waves, you're in the 5th wave. So the first wave that came in the 1700s was more of the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
Second and third waves, as we found steam power, electricity, combustion, they came along. The 4th wave was petrochemicals.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're in the 5th, where we're in things like digital networks, software, technology, automation. So that's a wave that's ongoing. And we think it's in one of the latter stages, and that could take us to the 6th wave, where we're into new and exciting technologies like artificial intelligence, big data, industrial Internet of Things, cloud computing, just really to name a few. So we think this wave and cycles will come and go, but the future is very bright and exciting to us.
Okay, so again, seems to be a very exciting thing ahead of us. But when you are investing in a fund like this, how is it just limited to? I know you're looking at for the next wave and stuff like this, but do you still invest in the big ones like Apple, Google, Amazon? Are you still part of the fund?
Yes, it is. And that's an interesting question because if you follow very recent market developments, some of these stocks have taken a breather, right, in terms of stock price movement. So it's gone sideways, and we're starting to find some value there as well. So yes,
okay.
We're also adding to some of these positions to our portfolios.
One of the observations that I have with this technology, I've been studying this since early last year. So I noticed when this pandemic happened, all the stocks went down, but technology seems to be the first ones to recover. And in fact, in a short period of time, they were higher than where they left off. And why is it so? Why is technology seems to be the darling of a lot of people right now?
I like to say that recovery is an understatement. Last year was a massive and a very strong year for technology.
Yeah.
So
and they were very fast. Huh? The recovery was like quick, and then overtook everything ahead of everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And if you follow the news, every other day you hear the Nasdaq, which is in the US, which is very heavy technology stock, making new high every other night. So really, technology had a wonderful year last year after the initial shock from the pandemic. So really what happened then was a couple of things. So everyone, for the first time in human history, everyone was made to stay at home. Right? So this new term came, work from home spawned. So everyone was at home, but life still had to go on. So what happened was there was a lot of adoption of technology. So things like, for example, Zoom that we're currently using, that took off very rapidly in usership, right? Other things like corporate, because now companies had to operate from home, they very quickly started to deploy monies to do investments, IT investments, which they probably would have taken 5-6 years to do. So, right, and even from you and I, individual consumers, we stayed home, but we had to shop. We had to buy our essential goods. So things like e-commerce also took off very rapidly in the US, in Asia, everywhere. So really, the COVID experience accelerated and brought forward a lot of trends that were already happening or were due to happen in the near term. So that's really led to share price performance last year.
I guess many conglomerates, many huge companies, they were investments in technology, but they were taking their sweet time to do it. They were not introducing all of these changes. And suddenly, 2020 happened, everybody accelerated, and I guess that affected everybody. But the question is, are we going to experience the same acceleration in 2021, or is it going to be a more tapered or tamed acceleration? 2021 and after?
That's a very good question, Randell. Actually, there are really two parts to the discussion here. So your question, I believe, is more what will happen if the world reopens, if we all get vaccinated, right, and we start to resume our lives. So I think there are two parts to this. So the first is the structural growth. So things we believe will still continue even if the world resumes. For example, when IT, like we discussed, start to put money in, for example, to move to cloud computing, right? And they are already seeing the benefits of this. or really moving their businesses online and seeing the business, the cost efficiency, the cost reduction, the improved usership from this, they're not going to turn overnight and say, well, we don't use this anymore. So we think the trend will still continue as it is. Or even you and I, if you're now very familiar with our e-commerce platforms, we're not going to turn around and say we completely not use it anymore. In fact, we might get even more used to it than we were before, right? So we think some of these trends will continue as they were even after the pandemic ends. And the other part is something interesting as well, the cyclical element of it. So for example, things like cars, right? The world reopens, we start to purchase more cars. We purchase more electronics, for example. Factories start to build more machine to cope with more demand. And that again leads to demand for things like semiconductor, for example. Or even when businesses resume, now we are gradually moving to a more hybrid model where some employees stay at home, some sit in the offices. You still need to invest more in communication technology, hybrid working environments. So we believe this pandemic actually brought about two changes. One, the structural trend that we discussed, we think that will continue. The second, when the economy recovers, there will also be the cyclical element that will come in and also drive demand for some of these technology company products.
Yeah. And I guess even that whole work from home, which I heard in Singapore, which was like 5 years ago, a lot of these companies, the reason why they're moving towards from work home because of the incredible cost of rent. Okay, so they've been doing a lot of, and I guess since we experience it, it kind of works. It's going to be like, as you say, a hybrid. Many companies would have to downscale their offices. It means that they need to improve on their technology capability also. So I guess it's going to work. It's one of the beauties that happen is we fix our traffic problem in Manila, but not in a good way. Okay, so that's a problem. So Chris, what are the trends you see coming? What would be the trends? I know you mentioned about Internet of Things. You mentioned about all these things. So aside from scaling up, are there new things that are in your horizon right now you're looking at?
Yeah, really, we could spend the whole day discussing these new trends coming forward from the technological world. So we're probably going to see semiconductors become a very, very important part of our world going forward. So we see things like electric vehicles. The usage of semiconductors is manifold compared to our traditional cars, and electric vehicles are on their way. Industrial automation, for example, so factories use a lot more robots, data processing, etc., uses a lot of semiconductors. Data centers, as we use more phones, more of our tablets, more of everything in our lives. 5G, right? That also needs a lot of semiconductors. And that's only one part of the story. So when 5G is in place, for example, that will lead to a lot of things like digitization of people, places, and things, right? And there'll be a lot of companies down the value chain, like e-commerce, digital entertainment, think of your Netflix of the world, online ad spending, etc. So this again gets accelerated, they get more efficient, and then that leads to another kind of a round of experience or opportunities for other technology companies down the value chain. And on a different gear as well, online gaming, like your children, right? These trends are here to stay and probably will accelerate. And then one very new trend that we're finding as well is smart construction. So in the construction industry, there are now software that are in place to help manage manpower, to also control whether an average worker on the construction site has his helmet on. Is he following the protocol? Really, that we think again is even a game changer for construction industry, where you don't need a foreman to really bark at every single one and watch everyone. The software helps you to achieve efficiency and safety. So really, it's a wide suite of things that's happening because of technological developments. And Randell, you and I could really be here for the afternoon discussing on these trends.
So Chris, are you seeing these things happening in Singapore? Because Singapore is probably the most, among all the ASEAN, the most technology advanced, and the most advanced in Singapore, in the Asia. You're seeing these things happening in Singapore. I mean, of course, it's so far away from the Philippines, but Singapore is another story. Are you seeing these things happening right now?
Yeah, definitely in different ways. So one is we're seeing a lot more data centers come about. We see a lot of the American giants, the Chinese technological giants coming to set up data centers. So that's one trend we're seeing. Our government is now putting a big push for electric vehicles, and we aim to really have a lot more electric vehicles on the road in the next couple of years.
Okay. So there's a lot of things that are happening right now. So
5G is one as well. Yeah.
So data centers, so REITs in Singapore are still good investments. So in case you're considering, it might also something to take a look at. So what would you see are the inherent risks in investing in something like this, a technology, I guess the fundamentals are a little bit different than, let's say, you talk about these, conglomerates and large corporations. What would be the risks you're seeing at this point in time?
Yeah. So risk, well, one, we think from a fundamental basis, the fundamentals are sound, but you really have to pick the right company because there are a lot of technology companies out there that are still in slightly more experimental stage or ramping up stage. So they are essentially still loss-making with the promise of making money some point in the medium term, for example. So you have to be very careful. If some of these companies really, they do not succeed some point in time and they run out of cash, they may fold. So that's really one risk here. And we're talking from a market perspective as well, because of all the work from home trends and you and I, where we know all these trends that's happening, markets have also pushed up the valuations of some of these stocks to pretty high levels.
Yeah.
Think of the Teslas of the world, think of to an extent even Zoom. Yeah. So with high expectations come potential for disappointment. And you may see more market volatility in terms of price, at least, when some of these companies start to disappoint on earnings, on developments, etc. So you must be very careful when investing in technology sector at this juncture. It's not to say that we can't, but you really need to diversify, put your eggs across many baskets, and also be very careful what you're buying into.
Okay, and you mentioned that a lot of these things have very high valuation already, and when you look at it, everything is not a red signal, but I'm looking at the PE ratios of some of these companies, it's very, very high. Makes you wonder at the end of the day, will the earnings sustain that? Again, we're talking about technology, the earnings can come from anywhere, but yeah, that's the danger that I see. If you have invested in certain companies which sounds so promising, but the valuations are crazy off the charts, then you are now susceptible to some form of a bubble as well. How do you address those things? I mean, yeah, proper selection, proper diversification, or do you scale back on your exposure on these kinds of stocks?
I guess you're absolutely right. There are stocks which valuations are a little bit ahead of themselves at the point in time. But on the other hand, there are others that are still quite at reasonable valuations where they are. And again, if you compare it to back in the 2000s, where a lot of companies were really living on the promise of some innovative findings some point in the future, a lot of the companies, let's take the big fangs, for example, the Facebooks, the Amazons, etc. A lot of them have very good businesses at this point in time. They are, in fact, making money. Cash flow is in a positive, and they are really entrenched as market leaders in what they do. So again, these guys, we think valuations are not really overstretched. I think that we think they're reasonable, and that's where we are really allocating. And some of the other opportunities we discussed, like semiconductors, etc. Just be very careful where you invested.
I wanted to talk to you about that because I've been in the financial service industry for, believe it or not, for over 30 years. So I saw what happened in that early tech bubble, and all these things were crazy because of everybody was so excited about the internet. Yeah, and they were correct. I mean, I believe they were okay. It's just this way it happened, everything too fast. So you're not seeing that. You're not seeing that big tech burst. When was this? Early 2000. You're not seeing that. You don't think do you think we're very far from that?
I would say a bubble would be a bit of an extreme term to use now. So valuations are rich in certain parts of the market, that we agree. But in certain parts of the market, especially those with good spelled up businesses, entrenched in what they do, we think valuations are still reasonable at this point in time. And you bear in mind, if you compare that to bond yields, for example, bonds back then were yielding anywhere between 5-10% in the 2000s. Now bond yields are near zero as well. So you have to put that again in perspective with what other asset classes are yielding, the expected returns on those. You would say certain parts of the tech market are not really an extremely rich territory at this moment.
Oh, okay, very good, very helpful, Chris. I know this is new to a lot of people, but we know that technology is part of our world. Even in a country like the Philippines, everybody uses a smartphone. Our consumption of data is crazy. We're not the slowest anymore. Okay, we're a little bit faster, but not that much faster. But you see, the way people use it. I guess if you've seen now, the Asians use technology, it's crazy, right? And it's happening right now. So I guess there's still a lot of room for growth for these things. One of the questions I have: how does blockchain technology play in this big picture of I mean, our technology, how do they play? Are you also investing in things like this?
At this point, we're not directly investing, but a lot of the companies may be participating or using blockchain as part of their product or even their general service offering. Right.
Okay.
So yeah, so for example, payment companies that gradually leaning towards blockchain to do a lot of transaction and settlement, etc. So really, we're getting the benefits of this newfound technology through our companies that use blockchain in kind of providing new services to the kind of invest or to general consumers at this point in time.
Yeah, and I guess, Chris, this is very important for people to know. No, they need to. Personally, I like technology, but as an investor, even if I am quite knowledgeable in investments, I don't understand all this technology. And there's so many companies to study. So I guess investing in a fund wherein that's your guys' role is to be able to make sure that you are investing right makes more sense to people like me. Now, fund managers have no social life. That's the only thing they do in life, but just kidding. But basically, that's much. I mean, it's very difficult. I mean, I love technology. I've been in the investment environment for many years, but just going through studying all of these things, it's crazy. I guess this is the value of investing in a fund that gives you a global exposure and technology. And I like what you said that, hey, Asia's is taking a big part of this as well. I mean, it's not US, Europe, and of course Japan, but we're seeing all of these things happening right now. Yeah, very good. So what has been just can you talk a little bit? I mean, I'm just curious how the usual investors in Singapore are they big consumers of technology? I mean, funds like this, are they very popular amongst the Singaporean, and at what age group is this quite popular with?
Are you talking about technology funds?
Yeah, technology funds, these types of funds. And let's talk about the Singapore market. I mean, yes, you're ASEAN, but you're not really ASEAN compared to us. So just kidding. But how is this popular? Who are they popular? Are people investing in these kinds of investments now more than, let's say, a broad index fund or something like that?
Yeah, it definitely is. We've seen actually rising interest in technology funds and other funds that are in the realm of technology, but with more specific niches, right? So for example, with innovation fund, with 5G funds, where we're seeing a lot of interest from our investors in the last couple of years, really, because as we all start to see for ourselves, some of these trends start to unfold. We see how they get involved in our lives. And really, even with last year's work from home experience, we're starting to feel how technology aids our lives. So we're getting a lot of interest in this. And really, we're seeing it all the way from our average retail clients to our high net worth, and even for our institution book of business. So it's across the board, and really everyone who is an equity investor of some sorts will have an allocation in their portfolios.
So seems to be this is broad. So there's beginning to have some mass adoption or mass appeal. When they say technology investments, people see it's just for the young people. I mean, I'm in my 50s. I'm going to be a granddad soon. But is this still a fund for somebody as old as I am? I know I don't look like it, but I am old.
No, you don't look old at all. And congratulations about being a granddad soon. Yeah. So really, no. Well, technology we think is the future, right? There are a lot of trends that will not be deterred and will continue despite of the pandemic, reopening, etc. But in the short term, because of the growth-like kind of nature of technology stocks, you do get a little bit of volatility here and there. So one must also be very careful in that aspect. So we won't advocate having 100% in technology stocks. Really do have some in your portfolio, but really allocate it based on your risk preferences, your investment objectives, etc.
Okay. Last question for you. I'm a new guy, maybe in my mid-20s, starting to earn. I have some money to invest. And of course, all of this finance experts would say, stay with the index funds, stay with the equity index funds. Everybody would just say, stay there. I mean, I know people say that, but why would I consider technology over index? Or should I start with an index and then add a little bit of equity or technology later on? Or I'm very young, I love technology. Should I just jump into technology investment as my first investment now?
We'll still advocate holding diversified portfolios. So technology should be an essential part of your equity allocations, but it shouldn't be all your allocations. Yeah, it should be mixed with everything else
Okay.
that's in
Let
the
me put you on the table here. At what percent should I put technology? Is it 30%, 40%, 20% of my whole portfolio?
No, I would say whole portfolio is a little bit extreme because you, like I discussed earlier, there's always some short-term volatility here and there. When news breaks out, things happen. But really, it depends on your age. So if you're younger, you can probably have a larger allocation because your horizon's really long.
Yeah.
But if you're slightly more elderly in age or middle age, you want to have scale it down a little bit and have a little bit more fixed income allocation. So I'd really say depending on individual circumstance.
So somebody who's 28 years old, 50% exposure, is that still going to be is it too much or just right?
Oh, just to give you context, technology would make up maybe 30%.
Okay.
I can't remember exact, of a benchmark, a global benchmark. So by going 50, you are relatively overweight. And you will see some short-term gyration. So as long as you're comfortable with short-term market movements, I think that's something you can consider.
Anyway, as I tell people, money not invested is money spent. So if you intend to spend your money, and probably you'll spend it in some technology way, you might as well invest it. So maybe sound 30% for younger people. Exposure might be a good, as you said, global funds have 30% exposure. It's something that can be a guide, of course. Individually, I think it will change. I probably would have a higher, I'm a risk taker. At my age, I'm in my mid-50s. I would still put it pretty much in my technology, but that's me. That's not for everybody. So, Chris, thank you so much for this wonderful. We are so excited about offering. By the way, I don't have any stake here. I'm just an advocate, but I want to see people to start investing. We want to see Singapore is our model for us Filipinos. You guys save a lot. You guys invest a lot, but we have more fun than you. But anyway, so, but we're broke, but that's a problem. So we want to see how it's done and we want to educate people to make sure that, we invest a little bit, save a little bit, manage your risk properly. And programs like this, I think it's headed to the right direction. So thank you, Chris. Make sure that we make money out of this because I am invested. No, just kidding. Okay, but I guess everybody needs to make money at this point in time. Any last words, Chris?
Yeah, we would like to reiterate that the opportunities for technology is really exciting, but you really need to have a long horizon to let all of these things build up. So stay invested throughout the course of time.
Yeah.
And thanks for having us.
So if you're only talking about 3-4 years, this is not a fun for you. But if you're looking at 10, 15, 20 years, consider this fun. All right. Exactly. Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Thank you, Chris.
Okay. So
thank you, PQ. Thank you, Randell. Hello.
Okay. So let's try to put you in already, DJ. Okay, we're gonna talk to DJ and talk about the product things of the one that offering for you. All right. So
thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
You can stay or you can leave. That's really up to you. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Because you want to make sure DJ says the right things. Okay. Just kidding. Okay. All right. So we're gonna begin to talk to you. So again, DJ, it's nice. It's the other way around. Usually you are hosting me. You are asking me these questions.
Yes.
This time around, it's going to be the other way around. And really, really, really excited. I don't know, medyo obvious, bro. But I've been talking about the GCash, GInvest function for quite some time right now. And it's finally here. And then I'm so excited that you're offering the 4 new products that are, I guess, close to my heart because these are the products that I want to invest in myself. And now it's easier to use GCash. Just for transparency, I've been investing using your GCash thing. I think, and I don't know, that whole GCash, sometimes the way I invest is the way I use Lazada. I don't know, it's wrong or something. But na-excite lang ako. No?
Add to cart.
Add to cart, and I just check. It's so easy. I don't have to wait. I just check it out, and all these things. Although there's a delay. So this offering, can you talk about this full GCash offering, GInvest, and this particular product?
Yeah, so this was a long time coming, Randall. So it finally came out. We've been in talks with this in 2019. We've been actually pitching it for a long time already. And, luckily, and very luckily, last minute we said, okay, let's put global technology, put global consumer trends on GCash, and let's get this thing rolling. So after a long year, 2020 was a long year of really planning it out. We have finally the ATRAM Global Technology Feeder Fund on GCash, and you have it for as low as 1,000 pesos. You heard Chris and how he discussed about technology, but you could access technology for as low as 1,000 pesos.
Okay, just to be clear, because the GCash, the GInvest functions are, we can do the 50 pesos, which is the money market, the smart index, and the bonds. But for this one, it's not 50 pesos, it's 1,000 pesos. Why the higher entry level?
Basically, you want to make it a premium, or how do you say it? Premiumtize it, in a sense that you're able to access all these global, investments. And if you have it at 50 pesos, maybe people will think it's cheap.
Okay.
Maybe people will not, put value into it. So we want to have it at a higher amount so that, of course, it lends to scale as well.
Okay.
But at the same time, you have that, so people see, okay, it's important to put more money into this fund. Yeah.
That's what I've been saying. While I'm happy that for 50 pesos you can get in, your 50 pesos is not going to get you anywhere. And in fact, your 1,000 is not going to get you anywhere. Even if it does extremely well in the next coming years, your 1,000 will not build your scale. So the whole idea is these are just minimums, but really it's just an issue of how much you can actually set aside for investing. Just curious, why are you including this particular? I mean, ATRAM is known for, you guys have so many products, I can't even begin to study all of them. So why did you zero in? Of course, there's 4 new products. We're only talking about this product. Why this particular product? Sa dami na pwede nyo ilagay, ito sinama nyo.
For ATRAM, we're known for our innovation, diba? We want to bring new products to the fray. We brought this product, the ATRAM Global Technology Fund, in 2018. So we were the first in the market to bring, these specialized products wherein you can invest in a certain story. And the story of tech is something that, we all understand today. Bringing that to GCash was actually a plan to make sure that people who don't really understand investing are able to go into things that they can understand. A lot of people say, invest in what you know, diba?
Yeah.
So it's important that, especially to get the millennials, the young people, to start investing in such a very accessible platform like GCash. It's very important that we get them to invest into something they understand and something that they believe in. And the Global Technology and the other fund, the Global Consumer Trends Fund, these are 2 stories that the youth will understand, the millennials will understand, and really want to invest in.
Yeah, so I guess they're not just users, they're technology native. It's innate for them, especially the next, which is not your generation anymore, the coming generation. They're not coming, they're already here. They're already they're beginning to be in the workforce.
They're natives. Yeah, we're not natives.
They're just really adapters. They were born in it. So I guess, so it's going to change even the way they're doing it. So this is really exciting for all of them. On that investment side, I love it because you finally have a chance to invest in something like this. I mean, for the longest time, our choices were been so limited. And then everybody will say, just invest in the index, just invest in the equity index and bonds and index. But there's a wide world out there and things like this. And I don't want to say this because I don't want to put down our nation or our country, but Philippine investments is not getting anywhere for what? 4 years now? You see, di ba? Kahit na gaano kaganda siya, but it's not, But I guess it's time for Filipinos to have a more global exposure. And I guess this is an entry level for them.
I think there are bright spots. Don't get me wrong, diba? In the Philippines, we have a lot of bright spots for investments. We have access to tech here. Don't get me wrong, diba? We have a Globe who made GCash.
Yeah, but they're so limited. They're so small compared to the past.
Right? But at the same time, a lot of people are consuming and consuming things that we don't have here in the Philippines. A lot of people have smartphones in the Philippines. We don't have a smartphone company here.
Yeah.
So top company like Samsung, which is on the Global Technology Feeder Fund, is something that we don't have access normally to, but is made accessible through this fund.
And through a non, it's the hurdle to get in. It's not so difficult. It's 1,000 pesos. So I mean, for you, DJ, 1,000 pesos. What's that? It's less than what you spend on a date. Although ngayon matipid ngayon, wala ngayon, But basically, it's like what? It's like 3 days worth of your coffee. I mean, you can get into something like this.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, pretty much. So I guess this is exciting because people are getting into these things and trying to get into the whole concept. So 1,000 pesos for let's do this because people are bugging me how to do this. You go to your GCash, there's a GInvest. Masyado lang mababa yung position ng GInvest, no? Hanapin mo pa.
You have to look at it more.
Yeah, you have to look at it more. So I guess you can see it's not in the priority of a lot of people, but it's there. Just look for GInvest. You click it, and then there's a question that you need to answer. Okay? So why do they have to answer these questions? This know yours, KYC and all these things. Can you talk a little bit about those things that they have to do first before they can start investing?
So basically, the questionnaire allows the people who are investing to understand themselves then. What kind of investor are you? Natatakot ka ba sa mababang ano tawag dito, malalaking loss?
Yeah.
Or are you that type of investor na, okay, I'm a long-term investor. I understand that it won't take me that, quick to get my investments and the return on investments, diba? So that questionnaire is not only to help us, but it's also to help you, the investor, to really understand yourself and know how you're going to invest. Parang ano ba dapat strategy mo sa investing?
Plus the fact that's a BSP requirement. That's a rule, that's a law. We need to know. You need to see those things. So my suggestion, guys, pay a little bit attention on how you answer it, because basically, if you really can't take this volatility, this is not the right product for you. You stick to bonds, which is also being offered. Might be the right flavor for you. So you try to answer as truthfully as you can, and then you'll see which ones will really siguro. Because if you answer, then lumabas na moderate ka or conservative ka, you won't have access to these things, correct? Tama ba yun?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you actually do. All you have to do is click the waiver.
Okay.
Ako nga, moderately aggressive yung sa akin eh. So, I'm not supposed to be able to access any of the 3 equity funds.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I understand the risks that are involved.
Okay, so there's an option for you as long as you know what you're getting into. I'm surprised that you're moderately aggressive and I'm aggressive and I'm much older than you. I think maybe it's experience or stuff like this. Okay.
I think it's more, if it were based on at least experience, it would be aggressive already. But because I'm a sigurista.
Okay. That's your personality.
Yeah,
and I guess that's very important, bro, no? I mean, you have to consider also your personality. Hindi naman pwedeng ang ganda ng fund, Randell and DJ talks about it, we excited. Hindi mo kaya, I would not recommend it, di ba? Sabi ko nga ano mo pera, yung health mo naman, di ba? Nag-waiver, and dahil pang praning ngayon. So again, be careful what you're getting into, but who is this product? I mean, I asked that with Chris earlier. Who is this product perfect for? I mean, it's funny that somebody like me would be investing like this because I have an aggressive stance and I understand, but I don't think I'm the demographic for this kind of a product.
Well, the demographic that we actually talk to with GCash with is really the millennial market.
Okay.
Yung mga people who are starting to invest, mga 20 to, I guess, mga 30s, mga young professionals who are trying to understand, okay, I need to be saving money. And
Okay.
if I'm going to be saving money, I might as well invest it into something that I understand. People understand
Okay.
technology, diba? Especially millennials. Millennials are adopters of technology. So it's something that's easy to understand. So first adopters of investments, first adopters of technology, diba? It fits. But at the same time, because technology is something that's consumed by everyone, it's something that everybody has. You know, this one is actually for everybody.
Yeah.
Diba? If you believe in the story of technology, if you believe in what's happening in the robotic sector for factories, if you believe in like mga video gaming for kids and for young adults, if you believe in the China technology build out, what they're
Yeah.
building the technology in China. If you believe in those themes, then it's very easy to get attached to the product and really say, okay, I believe in that. Let's invest in that.
Yeah. Just like cloud technology. 5 years ago, parang it was it seems to be an option 5 years ago. Today it's so mainstream. Like
Especially
everybody.
work from home,
Yeah, with
diba?
the work from home thing. So I guess that changes. And I like what Chris said. The pandemic pushed the technology even further. I remember I had this session with who was I had this session with? I forgot. But we talked about how quickly the stock market, at least the tech fund, recovered way ahead of everybody else because of the adoption of these things. Now, my question for you, I'm going to put you on the line here. Is this would you recommend this technology feeder fund as your first investment? If I'm 22 years old, I watch this video and stuff like this. Yeah, 5,000 pesos I can invest. Would you recommend they put that 5,000 pesos here or wag muna?
If you're 22 years old,
Yeah,
you
20.
should have the appetite already for it, diba? You're young, you can lose enough. It's actually one of the good ways to be able to invest. Of course, here at ATRAM, we also say that you'd want to be diversified. So your 5,000 pesos, maybe 3,000 of that into the global tech, and then maybe 2,000 of that to a more conservative investment or more moderate investment like total
Like
return
bonds.
peso or
Okay.
bonds. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So again, you're young, you can take a little bit, it can start, but I like to echo what you say. You don't just invest in a one kind of an investment. Okay. So you try to broad. Again, just to be practical, if you don't have that much money, there's really not much to diversify. I think this is a good entry level for young people. And then you build from that perspective. So that's something that you can take a look at. So again, Chris mentioned this is a long-term positioning thing. It's not, don't expect to make money and then next month you're gonna get out. This is not one of those kinds of products. Why is that so?
Because there is a lot of market volatility, people are driving the markets, it's very sentiment driven. If they
And
believe
especially for
something works.
technology, the volatility for technology is even crazier.
Exactly. If you look at the technology stocks in the past few weeks, it's been falling, rising in very big increments, if I may add. So if you're watching the Nasdaq or if you're watching a technology index, and you're not used to investing, you might get scared. But one of the things that we advocate is if you invest in the long term, all these volatility, all of these ups and downs that the market experiences, you'll notice that they'll be smoothened out. And you'll see a clear trend, whether it's up or down. And technology has been showing a clear uptrend. And it's really because, it's something that continues to drive growth in our economy.
Okay. So DJ, I want to take this opportunity to remind people that's why you need to have emergency funds, savings first before you jump into these things. Because once you start, and this is my principle, once I start investing here, I hardly take things out. I mean, hardly. Do you know I have a mutual fund that I have not touched for the last I don't know, close to 20 years now. So just imagine. So again, you have to think that way. That's why you manage your risk first. You save enough. You have emergency funds. You're properly insured before you jump into these things. But these are the things that you can do, I guess, simultaneously. Pag bata ka pa, sabi ko nga, di ba, young people, they can invest in things like this. You know why? If they lose their money, they still have parents. Di ba? Like you guys. Paano kami? Di ba? So, wisdom lang. You want to be able to do these things right. All right? So, it's now available. It's now live. Okay? Tagal ko inintay ito. Okay. So, it's now live. They just
You and me both.
Huh? Yeah.
You and me both.
Are you guys gonna offer other things later on or dito muna?
We are going to, so this is currently wave 2 of GCash. We're currently
the first one was your money market.
Money market.
Okay.
Just to try things out.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a product there. And then see, work on the operational side at the back and make sure everything is smooth, so that when we introduce new products, bam, 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 everything's
Tumatakbo na. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is gonna be wave. There's gonna be another wave, but let's get people used to it. Parang yun muna, no? So go see.
Yes.
How is it? I mean, from the launch, it's been like a week or so. I mean, has it been well received? Just curious lang.
In fact, the global technology and the global consumer trends, the two global funds, have been the heavy hitters. A lot of people have been investing. And I think it works on the demographic of GCash.
Yeah, okay.
GCash is really millennials, diba? So effectively, all the equity funds, even the Philippine Equity Smart Index Fund, they're performing very well in terms of flows. A lot of people are investing in it.
Okay. So this is working on this. So this technology and this global feeder are the ones that these global trends are the ones that are leading the pack. All right.
Yes.
Okay. So again, looking forward to. So thank you, DJ. No, really looking forward to this. I want to thank you guys for the innovation, and I like things like this because it pushes other companies to even pushing our regulators. No, just ato baka may inside story ka. Were you guys able to get this through our regulators? Yan yung big question. Paano to pinayagan? Yun yung question, ano?
You'd think that having one sector is something that is very concentrated, and I think that's one of the considerations of a regulator. But we also provide the scope that global technology is end to end. It's from the beginning, like the semiconductors to the hardware,
Yeah.
software. So it's actually a very broad area. It's actually a very diverse area.
The reason I'm asking is because we've had our regulators are very conservative.
Yes.
We use the technology, ginamit ng GCash, and I'm pleasantly surprised that they agreed to all of these things. I'm just curious, any inside how they were able to, sige, let's try it and stuff like this.
I think it's also the management. So we've seen that the BSP has also been more open to these new innovations, and we've been seeing a lot of relaxations in a lot of the in the regulation space.
Yeah,
and
okay, good.
it's those open-minded thinking that we're getting from the BSP. The BSP is already looking at sustainability, and that the whole thing we launched a new fund, the Philippine SDG Fund. So they're very close to all the global developments right now. They're currently
That's good
understanding
news.
what's happening. So it spells it bodes well for the Philippines.
I think also because they're so concerned about the huge unbanked, uninvested population. So I guess, you want to open these things. Somebody who is in 22, 23 will not go to the bank and ask about unit investment trust funds. I don't think that's going to happen. But they will go to their phone and check it out. So I guess kudos to BSP. I mean, big fan of BSP. SEC, please follow suit. Okay? Naiiwan kayo lagi. So, okay, don't want to put you in a spot. But, same function, different experience. Kaya, just be curious lang, if you see the GCash, they're all unit investment trust funds. You don't see a mutual fund there. Why? Because the SEC is taking its sweet time to enter into this, and virtually the same product, BSP said, go. So take advantage tayo. So any last words, DJ, for this? Any, by the way, you have to look for the GInvest in your phone. Okay? You have to click it. Hindi to automatic. Hindi yung pag nilagay mo yan, pwede ka na mag-invest. You have to wait until they gave you the go signal. They processed you and you can begin to invest. And also, ako na yung nag-product development dito. Also, hindi automatic pag nilagay mo. You have to wait for about 4 days for your investment to actually start running. Kasi there's a process of these things. They have these things. Tama ba?
Yes. So,
did I
tama.
mislead anybody?
We also see a lot of the Facebook posts na nag-place na ako ng order, bakit wala pa yung investment ko? It really takes some time to process your order, but when it's processed, we will use the date that you placed the order in, and we would also use the price that you placed the order.
So T18 nyo is tama 4 days, right?
Yeah.
And then the NAV that is from the day that you place, hindi the day that it gets approved.
Yeah. Assuming that they met the cutoff, diba?
Okay.
So
okay. May cutoff, okay.
Yeah.
So your cutoff is at what time?
I believe it's at 11.
Okay.
11,
So if you do 11,
yeah.
you're gonna get that day. If the next, you're gonna get the next day. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And if you do it on a weekend, you'll get it on the Monday. Yeah.
Wag lang holiday. Okay. Wag lang
holiday, it will be on the next banking day.
So ito Holy Week. So I don't know. Maybe it's not Holy Week when I put this out. But so again, DJ, thank you very much. Congratulations, ATRAM and GCash. Really
thank you.
For transparency reason, I have no stake here. Okay, not paid to do this. Okay, this is really for education purposes.
We're very thankful for you.
And I think people should start investing more on top of spending more. Kasi guys, mag-invest din kayo. Ako nakikiusap ko sa inyo, mag-invest na kayo sa technology fund kaysa gumagas kayo lagi sa technology lang. Para may konti naman ROI. Okay? So you guys are being big consumers of e-commerce, games, and stuff like that. So might as well invest a little money on that also. So that kahit paano may return naman yung mga ginastos nyo. Tama ba?
Siyempre. Excited kami that we have these products for especially the younger generation. During my time when I was in my 20s, I didn't have products like this to invest in. And I heard people in our office saying, okay, let's invest here. But I don't have that money. I just started.
Yeah. Very good.
So,
well, this DJ, in your 20s, may ganito. In my 20s, nobody even know what a mutual fund is. So again, talking about different generations. So again, it's there. I mean, again, guys, a little bit of money. We're not telling you to put all out your money. I mean, some of you spending money. This, I would go out of the limb and tell you, this might even be perfect for your cost averaging. So set aside on a budget, maybe wag na 1,000, that's too small. Ideally, I think everybody who listens to me can invest much more. Maybe you start with 2,000, 3,000, or 5,000, and you do it on a regular basis. On a regular basis for the next 10, 15 years. And he may be 2,000 in his fund, 2,000 in this fund, and you'll be surprised that you'll thank your younger self for it. So DJ, are you thanking your younger self for doing your investments early on? Or you wish you would...
I'm thanking my younger self, to be honest, that I started investing at a younger age, and everyone should too. And GInvest has a function wherein you could put a reminder to invest. Yeah. So for those looking to, okay, I'll put like even 1,000 a piece every month. Yeah.
Or every payday. That's perfect. 1,000 every payday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, suggestion for you, DJ, please take it to ATRAM and GCash. Have an auto, I said this in the last session, if you can have an auto debit arrangement already. So, automatically remove that. Even a reminder, who checks reminders now? So, maybe it's an improvement that you can make, that you can set it up for 1,000 every 30 days. Because GSave has that function. So, I guess that's also something you can do.
Yeah, we will bring it to our partners.
Yeah, bring it to them. Okay? So
At
that
GCash.
so pwede yan kasi pwede yung GSave. So pwede rin to.
Diba? Pwede.
Yeah. All right. So thank you, DJ. Looking forward to the next. Guys, keep me on loop so I can feature you guys again in the future. Bye guys. And request ko lang, please subscribe. Pakisubscribe dito.
Please subscribe to Randell's YouTube channel. Please hit the bell for notifications and click like if you like this video.
Yan. So subscribe, notification, like, share na rin. Because a lot of people, you're doing a lot of people a lot of favor by encouraging them to start investing their money. With this is Randell Chongson. Bye. See you guys soon.